When sports return, we don't know. You want to talk about sports resuming either positive? I don't even know what your thought is, positive or negative. What are your thoughts? Will sports resume at some point and when?
Well, I will tell you this, Ryan. I drive all day long working on stuff that's going on for our articles and our interns. And a lot of our interns are writing stories right now about sports and what they ask me, what should I write about? There's nothing to write about. There's always something to write about when it comes to sports. But do I think sports is going to continue? Absolutely. I do believe the NBA is coming back. Adam Silver last week spoke to a lot of the executives, the GMs, and obviously the owners, and he wants to resume the season. The question is, where are they going to have the rest of the season? Are they going to do it in Arizona? Are they going to do it in Orlando and Arizona and have the games there? There won't be any home games anymore because, as we all know, the LA and the governor has already closed events up in LA, so there will not be any events, comedy shows, concerts, sports games or anything like that going to be held in LA for the rest of the year in 2020. So I do believe there will be an NBA season. I also believe there will be an NHL season. Gary Bettman has been pushing it. And I like what Gary Bettman has said, not only to the public, and to the press, but really to the players. I've been very surprised with some of these commissioners and some of the commissioners' answers to why they're trying to protect the players. Now, I understand what Snell said, and a matter of fact, when I didn't even know that Snell talked on Twitch last night, so I actually went back and actually watched the pre-recording of what he was saying. And I think Snell has absolutely gripe to argue about, but again, when you look at the MLB season, and they want to have 82 games, not 162, they want 82 games. You have to cut some kind of salary to these players because there's no intake of money that these owners are going to get. Obviously, they're not going to be playing home games at home, and if they do play home games at home, there are not going to be any crowds out there. So they're not going to be bringing any money from the food stands, from ticket sales. All they're going to be selling is really their TV deals and maybe hat deals and endorsement deals that they're going to have for the team and the organization. So I understand what Blake Snell is saying, and I do believe there will be an MLB season because one way or another, I do believe the owners and the players are going to come to an agreement. But I think it's just this whole COVID-19. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to all the fans out there, the families, all the people that are listening to our shows. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to us. I know there's so much going on, the pandemic. Family members are dying throughout the country. There's over, I think it was over, now worldwide, over 100,000 deaths. So I want to give a shout out to all the fans worldwide that are dealing with this pandemic or have dealt with this pandemic. Hopefully this will end very, very soon and everybody, gets better. It's just sad. It really is. I never thought in my wildest dreams that sports was going to be closed for this amount of time in my lifetime. I never would have thought. And the fact that the world is just shut down, it just, not only as a sports fan, but just as a person, as a kid, well, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a grown-up, 38 years old. I've realized that there's a lot to live for. And without sports, without entertainment, it slows everything down. Your day, there's no ending to your day because you have nothing to watch when you go home. You're watching old movies. You're watching TV shows that you couldn't stand when you were a kid because you got nothing else to watch.
It's like Groundhog Day, right? It's the same day over and over and over. The weekdays blend into weekends. Like you said, right? There's just nothing to look forward to. Like, I'm not a big NFL draft guy. Like, I watch it, I take it in, but I don't really look forward to it. It's not a big day circle on my calendar. I'll be honest, Errol. Last month, I couldn't be more jacked up for that first round because it was something that we could watch we didn't know the outcome of, which is just I'm desperate for. You can watch all these old games, which is nice to go back down memory lane, reminisce a little bit, get some nostalgia going, but after a while, when you know who wins the games and you can only watch so many old games without really getting ready to watch action that you don't know the outcome of, right? That's what sports is all about. You watch a game, you don't know what's going to happen. And we do not have that. Like you said, you can never imagine in this day and age anything taking that away. But like you said, obviously the pandemic has absolutely taken all of that away from us. Not just sports, to entertainment, really. So much everything that we know. Entertainment-wise, concerts has just been wiped out. But you I'm shocked. So you actually have more faith than I do that the baseball season is going to resume. You think that when push comes to shove, they'll get a deal done?
Yes, I really do. I understand what Blake Snell was saying, and I listened to the 20-minute rant that he had about the MLB and how these billionaire owners can't open up their pockets, and we're putting our lives on the line, we're putting our bodies on the line, and you're not going to open up your pockets. And I understand that he's upset. I really do understand that he's upset because these owners are billionaires. But you have to understand something for these owners. These owners are still going to pay a certain salary to you, even if it's half your salary. Just think how much money they're losing this year for this pandemic. They're losing millions and billions of dollars because of the whole COVID-19, just like all the other businesses. So, yes, I do believe there will be a season. I don't know when they're going to come to an agreement. I'm hoping that in the next 2 or 3 weeks they can figure something out where it makes sense. I do believe that Rob Manfred has made a lot of mistakes with the whole Astros thing, the Boston Red Sox thing. If I was Rob Manfred right now, I want to solidify myself as this commissioner past 2024 when his contract is up. I would try to get the MLBPA and the owners to sit down with each other and come to an agreement fast, because to me, without baseball, without basketball, without hockey, even without football, which I do believe 110% there will be a football season this year, I'm worried that if they don't come to an agreement, we're going to be lost with sports for even longer than we expected. So I'm looking forward to this Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady golf tournament that they're going to have. The way they're talking crap and they're going back and forth all over social media, it's really, really funny. It kind of takes you away from what's going on in the world. I think it's going to be fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
It's something live, like you said. But I'm concerned about most, Arrow, if baseball doesn't come back, because honestly, so far, I'm getting more pessimistic as the days go on, just because I just think there's no trust, especially with Rob Manfred basically siding with the owners more and losing a lot of the trust, I think, from the players coming off of the Astros scandal. I just don't see how that, like, if the players don't trust the owners, why would they do anything that they're trying or bargain any way more than they already did? I mean, their salaries are already cut in half. Let's just talk about that. Prorating your salary going from 162 to 82 games, you cut the season in half, their salaries are cut in half. So they already took a pay cut. And now to even ask them to take more of a pay cut, just so the owners can save a little bit more money, I have a tough time siding with billionaire owners. But at the same time, I think both are going to have to be to blame here because, to your point, like baseball has to return. I'm more worried about the long-term effects for baseball because obviously the strike in 1994 really turned a lot of fans off. And I think now, with everything considered, all these circumstances surrounding playing again and resuming, if they can't do it for health, fine. Right? If it's too risky, if you can't ensure players are going to be safe playing the game, that's no problem. I think everyone understands that. No one have a problem with it. I have a real concern and worry that if baseball can't figure it out because players and owners can't come together on who's going to get paid what, and the season doesn't happen because of money and strictly money, I'm so concerned that a lot of people will be turned off by baseball, tuning out completely. And 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, especially with a lot of young kids right now, that's the market that MLB is trying to tap into. With nothing else to watch, this is a great time for them to take hold of that market. Get to people that they normally wouldn't get to, that are watching other things. With nothing else to watch right now, baseball, and we even see with Korean baseball. I mean, most of the baseball fans are watching it at 1 a.m., but people are still enjoying baseball and enjoying live sports that they don't know the outcome of. Baseball can do that, can tap into that market. I'm really concerned that if they don't play, out of money reasons, a lot of fans will be turned off, and baseball will just continue to toil and get less and less relevant nationally, which just means it's going to be, basically turn into hockey.
I think it's a backbreaker for the MLB to figure this out, and I also believe that the UFC, and as much as I can't stand Dana White, and everybody knows that listens to my show, I'd like to stab him in the back, and not personally, with a knife, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Stab him in the back.
Theoretically.
Stab him in the back. Yes.
Socially.
Theoretically, yes. Personally, I think the guy's a moron, but I think that he has the right touch of trying to get the sport out there, even if there's no fans out there. It will draw the fans because they're trying to find something to watch. They're trying to have something to move forward to. I mean, I understand families right now are sitting back and they're saying, you know what? If there's no sports this year, oh, so be it. But as you and me and all the sports fans out there, we have something to go home to every single day. We want to see sports. We want to be interactive in the sports world, not just watching it, but doing fantasy sports. I mean, look how many fantasy owners, look at how many DraftKings, and you can say whatever you want. All these organizations are losing tons and tons of money. And I understand why the MLBPA is saying, well, these are billionaire owners. They should dial up. They should open up their pockets and pay us what we deserve. I understand the MLB players. I really do. I understand the NBA players and the NHL players. But you have to come to a conclusion that if they're not going to come to an agreement, you have to there has to be a middle tone, a middle man there to try to figure this out. And I think Rob Manfred, Adam Silver, Gary Bettman, Roger Goodell, all these commissioners, Dana White, they all should be coming together with the owners and figuring out the best way of bringing the sports back. And also, I will say this, Ryan, and I as a sports fan, and really just analyzing what is going on in the world, and I'm disgusted with what I'm hearing through Donald Trump's voice, and I like Donald Trump, so I'm not going to tell you if I'm a supporter or not, because I don't want to get into politics. But I like what
please
Donald
don't.
Trump is saying.
We're not doing that here.
No, I'm not. I like what Donald Trump is saying, but I also dislike what is going on in the politic world, where they're bringing sports into their conversation when it has nothing to do with what we're trying to do to get through with this, with the pandemic and stuff like that. So I think right now where the world is, we need sports back. Sports needs to be back. I think it will it'll get us away from all the stuff that's going on in the world that we know it. And I think as a sports fan, and you know this more than anybody knows this, we want to come back to a normal life, a normal lifestyle. And I think that because of what's going on with the COVID-19 and the pandemic that we're dealing with, and really what's going on in the world as we know it, we need sports to come back, and we need to come to a conclusion to all this. And even if there's no fans, and I believe we will not have fans till 2021 next year, possibly. It might be 2022 if we don't have a vaccine. I'm worried that that's going to happen, but nevertheless, we need sports back. These players cannot sit out for a whole year and expect the fans the year after to come and actually dial up and watch their shows. That's why the UFC came back, because they know they're going to steal fans away from other sports. Because if they're showing their product and they're putting their product out there, the product will be seen, and more UFC people or fans that are not interested in mixed martial arts will be more entwined and go into watching mixed martial arts and steal some of the fans away from MLB, the NHL, the NBA, and the NFL. So
I agree. I think it's why it's so important for Major League Baseball, like I said, just to return, because there's an untapped market right now. It's out there. And like I said, UFC and Dana White are taking advantage of it right now. They have, it's easier for them in an individual sport to kind of keep all the fighters away and at least try to limit the exposure. And if someone unfortunately does get sick, it doesn't ruin their card, as we already saw. A fighter gets sick, but everything else just kept going outside of that fight. So it's going to be, I'm with you, man. I'm dying for sports to come back. Hopefully sooner rather than later, obviously, if it's safe.